Chapter 10-6 is solving rational expressions. So that means we need to find out what x equals. It's not combining like terms or adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, where you just try to find out what the answer is after you add, subtract, multiply, divide. You're actually trying to solve for x. Okay, example 1, 1 over x equals 1 over 4 minus x. So we have a fraction equals a fraction. So you can cross multiply and divide. Or let's see now, we're going to cross, let's see now. 1 times x is 1x. And then on the other cross product, 1 times 4 minus x is 4 minus x. Okay, so we're going to solve for x. We're going to take the minus x, bring it to the left side. That becomes plus x. And now we have x plus x, which is 2x, equals 4. Divide by 2 and you get x equals 2. Okay, now we're going to go back and look at the problem, because we cannot have 0 in the denominator. So, okay, so if I put 2 in there, if I put 2 in here, that doesn't become 0. If I put 2 in here, that also doesn't become 0. So we're good. X equals 2. Okay, example 2. X plus 6 over x equals negative 5. Okay, here we do not have a fraction equaling a fraction. So we have to try to solve for x. And this goes back to fraction busting. We have x in the denominator. It's the only one that we have in the denominator. So to get rid of the fraction, we're going to do fraction busting. We're going to multiply everything by x. And that will get rid of the x as a denominator. So we're going to multiply this by x, and this by x. Okay, so now we have x times x is x squared, plus the x's cross cancel, we get 6, equals negative 5 times x is negative 5x. Okay, we're going to bring it to the other side and we're going to put it in order. So that's x squared plus 5x plus 6 equals 0. Okay, so now it's a diamond problem. 6 on top, 5 on the bottom. Two numbers that multiply 6 and add up to 5 are 2 and 3. So then we have x plus 2 times x plus 3 equals 0. And the two answers that work are negative 2, because negative 2 plus 2 is 0, and negative 3, because negative 3 plus 3 is 0. Okay, and then we have to check and make sure that that doesn't make where we have 0 in the denominator. So if I put negative 2 in here, that doesn't equal 0. If I put negative 3 in there, it also doesn't equal 0. So both of those answers are valid. Okay, example 3, x squared over x minus 1 equals 1 over x minus 1. We do have a fraction equals a fraction. So we're going to cross multiply and see what we can get. So we have this times this, x squared times x minus 1. That gives us x to the third minus x squared equals, I'm going to cross multiply the other way, equals x minus 1. We're going to bring everything to the left side. So x to the third minus x squared minus x plus 1 equals 0. And see if we can factor that. Okay, there's 4 terms, so we're going to try factor by grouping. So x squared, that leaves me at the x minus 1. And over here, I'm going to pull out a negative 1. And that gives me x minus 1, which equals 0. Okay, so now I have, this is what they have in common. So that's x minus 1. And then what's left over is x squared minus 1 equals 0. Okay, so let me go to the next page. No, we'll just go up here. Okay, so now we have x minus 1, and then we have x squared minus 1, which is a difference of squares. So that's x plus 1, x minus 1 equals 0. Okay, so the answers are x equals positive 1 and negative 1. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the denominator and see which one is valid, which one's not. So if I look in here and I put 1 in x, I get 0. Okay, we can't have 0 in the denominator. So x equals 1 is not a valid answer. So the only one that works is x equals negative 1. Because when we put 1, regular 1 in here, you get 1 minus 1, you get 0 in the denominator, and we can't have 0 in the denominator, so the only one that works is x equals negative 1.